Let's add another chord to our arsenal of chords that we're building up here. I am going to use, you may notice I've changed picks. I'm just using this kind of lighter Tortex pick here. So don't think I'm doing anything differently. I'm just switching up picks just a little bit. A little bit lighter gauge pick here. But anyway, it kind of goes like this. The new chord we're going to add is called a dominant ninth chord, okay? And the way you're going to see this written is like E9, A9, D9, in this case D9 and E9. Most of the time when you encounter these chords, you can play them with the root on the 5th string. So in this case, the D9 would go like this. Okay? Now, you could play this note. You don't have to because that's the 5th, and the 5th is the least important interval in a chord. So most of the time I just play it like this, and I just drop out that top note. But you can play it, it sounds fine. There's nothing wrong with that note, okay? I'm just letting you know that you can play either way. If you play the top note, what you're going to do is bar it here, finger here, and then bar this note like that. So you got 2 strings. It's a little more difficult, but you got to have this note for it to be a ninth. For it to be a ninth chord. If you just played these notes, it'd just be a dominant 7th chord. As soon as you add this note, it becomes a dominant ninth, and that top note, which is the 5th, is just an optional note, okay? And of course, this chord is transposable anywhere on the fretboard. Because there's no open strings, right? So you can move it anywhere you want on the fretboard. The other thing to keep in mind is how you form this chord. Well, remember we started way back with just like a D major chord, then we went D dominant 7, then we went D minor 7, then we introduced a major 7th chord using it as a 6th, okay, and then to make the 9th, what you need is a dominant 7th chord. So there's your basic rudiments of a dominant 7th. From D to F sharp is going to be your major 3rd. And then from D to your to your G, what am I talking about? From D to C is going to be your minor 7th. So D, F sharp, major 3rd. D to C, minor 7th. And then D all the way up to your E, that is your 9th. So these are the notes that you need for that 9th chord. And that's why it's called a 9th. Because you have this note 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 notes up from the root note. Okay? And it's a major 9th, by the way. Alright, so that's enough about that chord. But here's the way you use it, right? I'm using it as, instead of playing the D dominant 7, I'm playing a D9. Instead of playing an E7, I'm playing an E9. Because 9th chords are dominant chords plus an added 9th. So they can be substituted. Anytime you see a dominant 7th, you can substitute a dominant 9th chord. Okay? So very easy. And just as an aside, you can also substitute a dominant 11th or dominant 13th. So you've got this going on. A dominant 13th would be like, so you go. So that dominant 13th, it's really more of like a jazzy sound. So for our purposes, and most of the time in blues music you don't really have 13ths and 11ths, but jazz and blues are so closely related. Just thought I'd throw that out there. So anyway, your dominant ninth, you got this dominant 7th thing, you got this dominant 9th thing going on. And then you got your E9, and then you can end on either an E7 like I've written, or you could just end on the E9. Okay, either one of those would be fine. So again, that's just your 9th chord. You can substitute dominant 9ths anytime you have dominant 7ths, because a dominant 9th chord is a dominant 7th just plus a major 9th.